Hello and welcome to the Commercial Real Estate Talk channel. I'm your host, George Morales. Thank you for tuning in. This is our longer form commercial real estate podcast where we take a look at what's happening in the world of commercial real estate. Today we've entitled this Miami's Largest Office Lease. As you can see here on the screen, we'll dive right into that. But before we do, and we've got a host of things we want to talk about: Trump's tariffs, other large leases signed in Miami, even a little bit what's happening with work from home and in New York City. So tune in. We hope you find this time valuable. A few housekeeping. This is where you can find us if you haven't already on YouTube, Commercial Real Estate Talk channel at CRE Help. And listen, we have a host of resources here for you. We've got a list of shorts that are pretty popular, and you want to learn commercial real estate, just take a look at all these little subjects: subleasing, options to renew, HVAC, rights of first refusal, and all in under 1 minute. So that's pretty popular. And then we have the longer form podcast, and Lord willing, soon a teaching series on commercial real estate. First one will be on the different types of commercial leases, from full service to triple net to modified gross. So we'll break those down for you. Also, if you are in South Florida or really anywhere in the state of Florida, we'd love to talk to you. How do we put food on the table? God provides through Blue Box Real Estate. We're a boutique commercial real estate firm founded in 2017. We do tenant advisory services, landlord advisory services, and more we're getting in investment sales. We have some experience there, and that's really taking off. So blueboxre.com. And without further ado, let's go right into the subject of today's podcast, episode 138. And that's Miami just signed one of the largest office leases of the year. I'm going to go out on a limb. It's April 10th, 2025. I'm going to go out on a little bit of a limb and say this is going to be the largest office lease signed in 2025. When we look back, you see, Miami is a small market town. I talked to my broker friends in New York. They find it hard to believe that a 5,000 or 10,000 square foot lease could get written up in the newspapers or online websites as being a large deal. And yeah, Miami's a small market, 3,000 to 5,000 feet. I just represented Acer, and I probably shouldn't say their square footage, but it was under 5,000, well under 5,000 feet for their Latin America office. Wonderful folks, pleasure to represent them as a client. But that's what happens, right? The Latin America multinational firms, folks coming down from New York, they're all here, but it's almost like a satellite office. So when you see a large space like this, it's going to garnish national attention, and it sure did. This comes to us from CoStar. City National Bank of Florida, which is a Florida bank, moved its headquarters to Coral Gables. Now, if you know the market, this is 2701 Lejeune, and this used to be Bacardi's global headquarters. So that's where they took Bacardi after COVID, I believe, shut down, didn't open up again. It's been vacant for a few years, and now they landed 145,000 square feet. Not too small there. City National Bank signed its new headquarters, former Bacardi USA, largest lease in Miami so far this year. Homegrown banks, they have $27 billion in assets, 145,000 square feet, 16-story Mediterranean, yada, yada, yada. They're going to move over, looks like, increase their workforce by 20% in the next 18 months. I mean, when's the last time did we hear that a major bank is planning to increase their workforce by 20%? All good signs. At its core, the decision to expand City National Bank's headquarters is all about our people. Okay, a lot about City National Bank here. Plans for the bank space in existing offices, including their 80,000 square foot space in downtown Miami Tower, were not disclosed. Well, guess what? Miami Tower, you may want to put that space on the market, because I don't think they're taking 145,000 expansion and keeping 80,000 feet at Miami Tower. So plan to have that space back, or a significant portion of that. Now listen, the new lease marks the largest office deal in South Florida this year. It's nearly triple the size of the second and third biggest leases signed this year. In February, Verizon subsidiary TracFone Wireless signed 51,000 square feet in Waterford Business District, south of Miami International Airport. Beautiful area, probably the #1 suburb for office in South Florida is that Waterford Business District. corporate hub. Amazon announced plans in January to open up their first Miami office, 50,000 square feet at Wynwood Plaza. Now, a lot of us thought Amazon was going to end up in downtown Miami. They're going to Wynwood. CNB, that's City National Bank's headquarters, built in 2009 and for a time served as Bacardi's USA headquarters. Okay, former Bacardi building owned by Ponte Gadea, a Spanish real estate firm. It's 420,000 square feet and undergoing major renovations. So there you have it. Let's give props to the brokers. Eric Rothman, Cameron, and Randy Cavallo represented the landlord. CBRE was all over this deal. And Matthew Goodman, Jeff Gordon, and Ramon Hernandez of CBRE represented CNB. So CBRE going to have a pretty good quarter after that deal, it being on both sides. So congrats, folks. So let's keep chugging along. Let me jump into this story here because it's kind of an over-encompassing story before we continue looking at a few more leases. Trump delays global tariffs. Surprise, surprise. You know, listen, Trump is from New York City. He pays attention to Wall Street. I'm sure Wall Street was banging at his door. Have you seen the stock market? I mean, 30%, no, I'm at 20% down. We're approaching bear market numbers and had one of the largest single day drops last week. And so what happened, or on Monday, I should say. So what happened on Tuesday? Well, Trump reverses, and or even yesterday morning, I guess, and pauses the tariffs. We had record day yesterday, coming back. Things are back, but today I saw that we've lost most of the gains already from yesterday's pickup on April 9th. So, you know, the stock market is doing yo-yo, and frankly, so is corporate America with these tariffs. But it's causing global chaos at the ports and everywhere you can think of. President Trump on Wednesday issued a 90-day postponement for sweeping tariffs affecting trade with nearly 100 countries, calming financial markets after nearly a week of steep losses. It calmed it for like an afternoon, and the losses continue today. All right, so listen, he's announced plans to further increase tariffs on imported goods from China at 125%. Listen, tariffs are like an act of war in many ways, and there are more than 75 countries here that have contacted U.S. officials to renegotiate their tariffs. So I guess that's what Trump wanted, the Trump administration. Stock markets rose dramatically after 4 days of large declines. The Dow Jones closed up more than almost 3,000 points, nearly 8%. That's got to be the largest single day. It doesn't talk about that here, but it has to be after losing over 2,000 points the prior day. S&P gained 9.5%, NASDAQ 12%. So several economists and corporate leaders have warned if skyrocketing prices could tilt the nation into recession if tariff increases are implemented and kept in pace prolonged. Walmart and Delta downplay growth prospects. All right, so we'll listen, we're going to keep track of this, but it's impacting folks, national firms, multinational firms that do business and are really being hammered right now. A lot of them are pausing expansions. A lot of them are considering layoffs. Certainly price increases. You know, my family, my son, we're into e-bikes, and we've been looking at getting an e-bike, and all of them had a note, hey, as of April 15th, our prices are going to be adjusted upwards because of the tariffs. Well, I guess those announcements came down now that the tariffs came down. We have so much that comes from China and all over the world. We're a global economy, so we'll see how this plays out. We'll see. With my fear with all this, and certainly 75 countries have already reached out to the U.S. to renegotiate. Okay, that's probably what the Trump administration is looking for. But my fear of this is the global economy decides, okay, America, fine, we don't need you. We'll go trade with India and China and Brazil and Russia and other countries. They'll pivot, right? And eventually it'll come back to bite us in the foot, you know. So if you slap your friends in the face, sooner or later they're going to go find other friends. All right, let's go to the next story in this article, and it relates to office attendance. All right, so big city office attendance averaged 53.6% of pre-pandemic levels in the latest tracking by Castle Systems. And again, this is CoStar, gauging the week of April 2nd. The 10-city average was unchanged from the prior week and held close to the peak, 54.5% register end of March. The average is now posted above 51% for 10 straight weeks, as many employers and government agencies have been increasing their in-office work requirements and cutting back on remote and hybrid schedules. So now, despite that, that's been a big trend for the last year. Big corporations cutting back on remote and hybrid schedules. A lot of folks, they want you back in the office. They want to see your pretty face and collaborate and work with you. But you see, it's not really impacting occupancy all that much. In fact, you look at New York's is down a little bit. So tech-centric San Jose posted 50.3, above 50% for 12 straight weeks. Now, another article that I looked at pretty much said that despite all the demands, it's really, as you can see here, since 2020, it's really since maybe March of 22, it hasn't changed that much, maybe inched upward. So we'll see how corporate America responds, as folks are just saying, nah, we'd rather not go back in the office. All right, big stuff happening in Miami, particularly the Brickell area. This is, if you're familiar with Brickell Key, this is a beautiful triangular island just off Brickell Avenue that's accessible via this bridge, the Causeway Bridge, which is right off 8th Street. And the Mandarin Oriental, near and dear to a lot of us, amazing. I remember when it was built. My wife and I enjoyed our 5th year anniversary at the Mandarin Restaurant Azul. And here they're laying everyone off because they're going to knock this building down to make way for a 66-story condominium hotel. Now, I have had clients at the office, which you don't see here. If you can see my scroller here, or my pointer, right here where I'm circling is 2 major office buildings that I used to do the lease for, Tishman Spire. Well, imagine the traffic. It's already difficult coming up and down this bridge because you've got all the traffic of Brickell Avenue to contend with anytime you come on and off this bridge. But imagine now if you have a 66-story building going up right there at the entrance, it's going to be a little bit more chaotic. So the hotel will permanently shut down on May 31st, and they will begin laying off 430 employees on May 31st and continue until September 30th. So this is a permanent closure. There will be no recall or bumping rights. So unfortunately, Miami's 5-star hotel and workers who I'm sure have been there a long time are going to be in need of work. The hotel opened in 2000, so I was married in 96, so it must have been 2001 when we had our wonderful dinner there. So yes, this is what's coming, and this is why it's going, right? This is what's coming, these buildings. So you've got a new hotel, I believe, and this condo building that is a monster, okay? I mean, look at the size of that. I mean, how's that island going to hold up and not sink? 66-story tower, 228 residences, 2,300 feet to 5,800 feet. A second 400-foot north tower will host the new iteration of the Mandarin Oriental Hotel with 121 rooms, 28 hotel residences, and 66 private residences. Okay, so this is what's coming, folks. And yeah, right there, you can see the office buildings. There's 2 buildings there. So they have a bird's eye view of all that construction that's coming. So please give Blue Box Real Estate a call. We'll be happy to represent you and find maybe a less chaotic place to have your office over the next 5 years. All right, next story. We'll try to quickly clip these. Again, New York Cryptocurrency. Yes, they're still around. They're still alive, and there's more than Bitcoin out there. Opened its first Miami office, 8840 square feet, 8,840 square feet. Again, in sterling-based 545 Win. This is Wynwood. So, you know, Wynwood is really, if you're familiar with Wynwood, this was a small market that delivered like over 1 million square feet of office at the same time and just crushed the market. Well, as Brickell heated up and ran out of space, a lot of firms are skipping downtown and ending up in Wynwood. Why? Wynwood's a little more trendy. It's got a long way to go, but it's certainly more trending than downtown. And a lot of the life and luster of Miami Beach that was around probably in the 90s and early 2000s has transferred to Wynwood. in terms of the office sector. It's easier to get in and out of. You don't have to cross the causeways to go out to Miami Beach. So it's easier for employees to come. And it's become the place where cryptocurrency, Amazon, tech is starting to make their home. So listen, 545 Win, I think, was developed by a Chicago group. And I actually advised one of the partners from building it at the time. And look, I mean, could you say I was right or wrong? They built 270,000 square feet Chicago Sterling Bay in 2020. And now they're finally leasing up. So they sucked wind for a few years. So, you know, maybe the scale of 270,000 was too big, or the timing, giving everything that was coming, was too much, or too early. So, but now they're starting to lease space. So I guess they're large enough that they can hold on. All right, listen, they have signed several tenants here, and those tenants include Sony, Gensler, Miami International Holdings, or MEX, PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers. Okay, and now Gemini's decision they will plant their flag at Wynwood. So there you go, Gemini. Now, what does Gemini do? I don't know. What is their cryptocurrency? I don't know. It doesn't really say, but it says that the Winklevoss twins, famous for the legal battle with Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg, founded the cryptocurrency in 2014. Well, look, they're around for 11 years. Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss. So that's got to be a good thing. If you've been around this long in the cryptocurrency world, you must be surviving now. All right, so the courthouse of downtown Miami, this has got a big for sale sign. Don't know if they found someone to sell it. I think you got to buy it and commit to keeping the building, and you have to have experience running, you know, antiquated buildings or antique buildings. I looked into it for a client, a little difficult, but it looks like GFO Investment has a thoughtful hospitality project going on near the courthouse. So let's take a look. So there's the courthouse. You can't miss it. Oh my, this thing, it's like hovering over the courthouse. I mean, really, why keep the courthouse? Why? That doesn't make any sense to do this, right? To build this monstrosity project that is abuts the courthouse. That makes no sense. You destroyed the courthouse views. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't. Let's look at see what they. This is a proposal to build a residential tower next to the repurposed courthouse. I mean, because everybody's dream is to have a residential apartment next to a courthouse or that is defunct. So GFO Investment, led by Russell Galbut, has unveiled plans for a residential tower next to the historic Miami-Dade courthouse. It looks like he bought it. He emerged as the sole bidder and bought it for $52.3 million. Well, maybe it could have sold for less if you were the sole bidder. I explained. I showed this to a few clients, and again, this is what you have to do. So interesting. 73 West Flagler includes a company calls for meticulous restoration of a thoughtfully repurposed building, hospitality, office, and retail, while maintaining its exterior facade. The building was built, the courthouse, in between 1925 and 1929, was once the tallest structure. I mean, look, probably very famous people have come in and out through there. Including I did jury duty. That's usually where I would go to do jury duty, in that building. So it's a powerful symbol of the community's architectural cultural legacy that will now be dwarfed by this massive tower. So anyhow, well, that's what's happening. More development. This is an infill project, more development. We're going to pretty soon mirror Manhattan. We talked about that. Now, Globe Street. Let's go to Globe Street. And here we see law firms surpass pre-pandemic levels in leasing with high-tech build-outs and upscale design. So companies looking to bring back to the office employees could take inspiration from the law firms. They're expanding their real estate footprint and adopting new strategies to encourage in-person work. Firms maintain robust office space demand in the third quarter of 2024, according to CNW. Let's take a look. 5 million square feet of legal activity during the second quarter. This firm said 2024 will likely close out with 15 million square feet of legal leasing activity, surpassing 14.8 in 2022 and falling just short of 2023 16.9. So I assume this is, that's not a lot of square footage if we're talking nationally. This must just be New York focused. The legal sector continues to take more space. That's good. I represent some law firm clients. We're constantly needing to grow and look for more space. It's good. I guess Americans, we're feeling good. We're back to work and we're all suing one another again. So I guess law firms are growing. But let's see here. The law firms are leading the pack in the return to office movement. Their space combine an office-centric culture with remote collaboration tools such as audio-visual technology and for depositions, remote court hearings, and client meetings. Yeah, listen, depositions are almost always done now via Zoom. I unfortunately know by experience. And so you may want to build out a podcast type of room for these depositions. The law firms also invest heavily between $75 to $334 a square foot, depending on location and extent of build out. Now that's to attract top talent. I get it. And that's where if you take a look at one of our short videos, I define what flight to quality is. And that is, in down markets, tenants take advantage of the lower rates and they go from B buildings to A buildings. Why? Because you could use your offices to attract better talent and give them a nice big office in a nice office building that's got a gym and conference facilities and restaurants. And again, just a much more pleasant place to work than just your bare bones Class B building that gets you in, gets you out, but it doesn't have any bells and whistles. So law firms are using those bells and whistles to attract top talent and nurture their culture. So we can look to law firms. How about tech firms? What are tech firms doing? Tech deals lead San Francisco office leasing to a 10-year high. I mean, think about it. That's well before the pandemic. Led by a bevy of large tech deals, office lease volumes in San Fran surged to a 10-year quarterly high of 3.4 million square feet. First quarter of 2025, which isn't over yet. I mean, it is, we've got, oh no, it did, March 31st, first quarter. So first quarter numbers are coming in. That is great. The total availability rate in the market dropped 35.6% in Q1. Think about that. A 35% drop in vacancy. You had 100,000 square feet vacant in that market, and now it's down to 65,000 in one quarter. I mean, you follow up the same in the second quarter, and you're almost out of space. That is remarkable. Way to go, San Francisco. Office leasing volume increased for the fourth consecutive quarter. Two of the largest deals involved Google, 430,000 square feet, an expansion of Spear, and an expansion at Spear Street, and a 274,000 square foot renewal. So Google is a large part, obviously, of this 35%, but that's what I mean. We don't have a 430,000 square foot tenant on the office side in Miami that I can even think of. Maybe Citadel's going to be one of our largest, Banco Santander. These are maybe 200 to 300,000 square feet tenants who are building their own office buildings in Brickell. But Google taking 430,000 feet and another 274,000 feet, that's just not the South Florida market. So yes, Google's expanding. Tech is feeling good, and I think that's great for all of us. Look at the top 5 leases of the quarter. See, City National Bank's 145,000 square feet wouldn't even make the top 5. It's the largest of the year for Miami, South Florida, maybe the state of Florida, and it's probably going to be the largest for Miami in all of 2025. Well, let's just look at the top 5 leases signed in San Francisco. So it includes, first, number 1 is Google's 240,000. Second is Google's 274,000. Third is, or second, I guess, JP Morgan's 280,000 square foot renewal and expansion. Lyft, 163,000 square feet. And Databricks, 150,000 feet. So you see, 145 doesn't cut the top 5 in San Francisco. That just tells you a little bit about their scale. So there you go, a little bit more about the different owners and what they're doing. All good stuff. San Fran, tech's feeling good. Law firms are growing and expanding. Here's a little article from Globe Street again. Fidelity, 803,000 square foot sublease at 245 Summer Street amid relocation plans. The financial services giant is planning to move to a new 650,000 square foot office. So Actually, they're scaling back, aren't they? They're going from 803 to 650,000, so that's 153,000 square foot of negative absorption. That's hitting their Boston. Okay, this is Boston, not New York headquarters. I should have known that. All right, so they're looking to sublease 803,000 feet so they can make way for the new 650,000 square foot space. Now, look, this is a good case study. No, I don't want you to send me notifications. This is a good case study because they had to move out. Given where we are today, the work from home strategy, the way the office environment is changing, the footprint, more collaboration, less large offices, more collaboration areas. And so it's hard to do that in 803,000 feet. But when you apply today's dynamics for workspace, this is going to be costly, certainly to relocate. And they're probably upsizing, going to a nicer building, my guess. But they're taking substantially less square footage, almost 20% less square footage to accommodate today's footprint. And we've been seeing it about 30% for the last 5 years. When corporate America has a chance to move or renew their lease, they're giving back 30%. In some cases like this, they've got to leave in order to accomplish their new design and new workplace. So this will be one to take a look at. This is certainly going to hurt the availability rate, which dropped 70 points year over year, basis points at 23.5%, but now you're going to probably bump up given this deal. And it looks like I know all these folks here. Previously, Fidelity leased and owned 245 Summer Street before selling it to Benderson Development 2004. Did a deal with those guys. And I also know Horizon Real Estate Investors. Interesting. So they purchased the property for $728.5, almost $1 billion. All right, we're winding down. One more, and here go back to the hybrid work. Hybrid work prevails as return to office mandates struggle to gain ground. We kind of hinted at this a little bit, and here we see that as companies grapple with the tug of war between return to office mandates and the growing demand for flexible work arrangements, the future of workplace norms remains uncertain. Major companies like Amazon and Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan push for in-office. And yet, according to this article, it looks like 68% of companies are still offering some form of flexibility. I don't think it's going away. I think it's here to stay. It's here to stay. It's too much of a perk. Again, I represented a firm recently. We did a nice deal for them in Doral, a large corporate user. And they work Fridays and Mondays and Fridays from home, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays from the office. And you know what? It works great, especially in a place like Miami where everybody commutes at least an hour to work, sometimes more. So think about that. I know New York City traffic, and you think it's chaotic, but you have mass transportation. People like to live in the city. Not Miami. People live in the suburbs, sometimes 14 to 20, 25 miles outside of their office, and without mass transportation, rail, you've got to get in your car, and you're fighting school traffic and other people trying to get to their different workplaces, and it could take an hour to hour and 15 minutes to get anywhere. So in a city like Miami or South Florida, because that holds true for Fort Lauderdale and Palm Beach, without that mass transportation, this is a huge perk to be able to 2 or 3 days a week have a home office and still with today's technology, team meetings and so forth, still be pretty effective. And then for the corporate world, hey, that means a smaller footprint, like I said, about 30%. So work from home is sticking. It's very sticky. It hasn't gone away after 5 years. In fact, congratulations, we just passed the 5-year anniversary of COVID, and praise God, we're all still here, still working and healthy. So work from home is still taking place, and it doesn't look like it's going to go away anytime soon. Well, that's it for today's show. Again, reminder, if you haven't already, please check us out at Commercial Real Estate Talk channel. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Maybe pass us along to some folks that you know could use help. And if you want to learn more about commercial real estate, then let me encourage you to go to don'tsignthelease.com and there /book, and you want to support the show, then you can pick up a copy of Commercial Real Estate Office Leasing and learn more about commercial real estate there. It's a great book if you're a business owner. Before you dabble into commercial real estate, it's a great book if you're a realtor and you want to learn more about commercial real estate, specifically tenant representation. You sell someone's home and then they ask you, okay, great, can you help find us some space for our business? Well, you probably need to know a few things before you go into that process, and the book in a few hours will really help you do that and give you nice practical guides to do that. So please remember to do that. And remember Proverbs 20:18, plans are established by wise counsel. By wise counsel, wage war. And we hope we're just a little bit of your business aspects helping you with your commercial real estate. Contact us at blueboxre.com. You can find me, George Morales. And until we record the next one, have a great day. Stay strong, and God bless you. Good day.